Welcome to Stroumpi. Words imprinted on the beautifully decorated signs at the entrance to the village of Stroumpi, which are not just a figure of speech. They portray the warm hospitality of its people, who are deep-rooted in this land for tens of thousands of years. Stroumpi is an important large village of the district of Paphos, since its geographical location is considered a strategic one.
Το Stroumpi είναι μια από τις μεγάλες κοινότητες της Πάφου. Βρίσκεται περίπου 16 χιλιόμετρα από τις δύο μεγάλες πόλεις της Πάφου, την Πάφων και την πόλη Χρυσοχούς, και βρίσκεται ακριβώς πάνω στην αρτηρία που συνδέει τις δύο αυτές πόλεις. Αριθμεί περίπου 850 κατοίκους. Από αυτοί οι 120 είναι ξένοι οι οποίοι έχουν αγοράσει και χτίσει εντός της κοινότητας, και οι υπόλοιποι είναι καθαρά τόπακες της κοινότητας, μεγάλοι και νέοι σε ηλικία.
In 2013, the local authority of the village of Stroumpi, in cooperation with the Paphos district administration, successfully put into effect the project Stroumpi Cultural Routes in an endeavor to promote the cultural heritage and the natural beauty of the village of Stroumpi. Within the scope of the work, 2 teams were employed and tasked with its supervision and implementation. These teams would meet regularly with the contractor and exchange views concerning its progress.
Πρόθεσή μας είναι να αγκαλιάσουν τόσο οι ντόπιοι όσο και οι επισκέπτες ή τουρίστες την όμορφη περιοχή μας με τις ιδιαιτερότητες της καθ' όλη τη διάρκεια του χρόνου. Έτσι θα μπορούν να γνωρίσουν και να απολαύσουν τα ποιοτικά τοπικά μας προϊόντα όπως κρασί, ελιές, φρούτα, τη γαστρονομία μας και τη φιλοξενία μας.
The 24 points included in the 4 cultural routes of the village of Stroumpi are closely related to the contemporary history of the village as well as to its ancient history. Archaeological findings in the wider area of the village are true witnesses of human presence in the area as back as the late Neolithic period. Evidence to the ancient origins of the settlement, among other things, are the antiquities which were discovered at the village. Also, Stroumpi has a large number of deserted or derelict chapels which are included in the 4 cultural routes and are an evidence of scattered old settlements in the area. The name Stroumpi was given to the settlement during the Hellenization of Cyprus in the years between 1500 and 1100 BC. The village appears in old geographical maps of the 16th, 17th and 18th century under the name of Stroumpi and later as Stroumpi. There are various versions about the origins of the place name of the village. One of the versions is that the village took its name after the first owner of the land on which the first houses of the village were built, and whose name was Stroumpis, meaning a short, fat man. The most convincing version of the etymology of the village name is related to the geomorphology of the village according to former Minister of Education and historian from Stroumpi, Dr. Chrysostomos Sofianos.
Η περιοχή αυτή ονομάζεται Stroumpi λόγω του ότι γεωγραφικά και μορφολογικά έχει τη μορφή, ο λόφος αυτός πάνω στον οποίο είναι χτισμένο το Stroumpi, τη μορφή ενός στρόμπου. Στρόμπος είναι η σβούρα, η αρχαία σβούρα. Και αν κοιτάξετε γύρω σας τους λόφους από την περιοχή της πόλης Χρυσοχούς, τα βουνά γύρω-γύρω είναι αποτελούν μια λεκάνη γύρω από το Stroumpi, και ο λόφος του Στρουμπιού σαν να ξεφυτρώνει από μέσα σε σχέβα σβούρας.
Before memories fade, Dr. Chrysostomos Sofianos and his wife Cleopatra Papageorgiou managed to collect rich historical records and to prepare a valuable publication which includes significant information regarding the history of the village, traditional professions, customs and traditions, and also the way of life of the residents of the village during the past decades of the 20th century. As a major village of the district of Paphos, Stroumpi also had a police station during the 1930s, a medical center, a courtroom, a land and surveys office and other services. It's worth mentioning that as early as 1927, Stroumpi had a cooperative bank operating, and the village had electricity supply since the beginning of the 1940s. Up until the year 1953, when the devastating earthquake took place in the area, which left 13 people dead and the village residents homeless, since the whole village was destroyed, the location of the village was at a place known today as Pano or Upper Stroumpi. A point of reference of Upper Stroumpi is the Church of St. George, built in 1912, which has been restored twice, one after the 1953 earthquake and once again following the 1996 earthquake. The sculptured representations at the side of the door and above the door with the domineering figure of St. George on a horse constitute elements of Gothic art and are indeed very fascinating. The church is included in the route Bacchus. Right after the devastating earthquake of 1953 and upon a decision of the then British colonial government, the village was moved to its present location about 1 kilometer south of its original location, and the majority of its residents were rehoused in the new settlement, which was named Kato or Lower Stroumpi. During the decades that followed, and in particular after Cyprus gained its independence from the British occupation, there was outstanding development and progress, and the trend to leave the village for the city during the 1960s was reversed, with both locals and foreigners either coming back to live permanently at the village or to build holiday homes. Strolling along the Bacchus route, part of which goes through the old settlement, one can admire the traditional homes blending in with contemporary homes, since many people purchased deserted houses and restored or demolished them in order to build modern holiday homes in their place. Many residents of Stroumpi have artistic inclinations, and one of them is Andreas Antoniou, and artist and author Charalambos Epaminondas, who paints and writes about tradition. Charalambos has also decorated the chapel of Saint Paraskevi and the sculptures along the road crossing the village. Both Saint Paraskevi as well as the workshop are included in the Dionysus cultural route. If it so happens that you hear this annoying noise of an electrical gadget through the olive orchards along the St. Marina route, follow the noise and you'll find yourself face to face with Yannis Papayannis, a farmer by profession at a time of artistic inspiration. Yannis expresses his creativity through chiseling and sculpturing pebbles he collects from the seashore. With electric tools and paints, this self-taught sculptor turns the pebbles into works of art. The village used to be one of the major grape-producing villages of the Paphos district, and until the end of the 1980s, vine growing was the main agricultural work of the residents. Today, apart from the vineyards, the people of Stroumpi also engage in the cultivation of fruit trees, olive trees, almond trees and citrus trees at a smaller scale. The local community of Stroumpi is not only famous for its hospitality and the hard work of its people, but also for the natural beauties of the village. The mild climate during the winter months, and in particular during spring, encourages the visitors to walk or ride along the green fields and follow the 4 cultural routes either on foot or with a bicycle. Through the 4 cultural routes, Dionysus, Bacchus, Tulip and St. Marina, the visitor can meet with the history of Stroumpi because it's a village with a long and unique history, old sagas and various traditions. One of these is the stone lion scanning the village from above, and also the legendary Arcotira with the century-old olive tree, which are two of the visiting points included in the Dionysus route, or the Achupospilio, another point included in this route. During spring in this area, one can see the only red tulips found on the island, an endemic flora species growing in abundance in the area and located in the tulip route. The launching of the Christmas period at Stroumpi starts on the second Saturday of the month of December with the lighting up of the Christmas tree at the village square and the Christmas bazaar. Join the Christmas spirit and watch traditional dances with the village children, drink sweet local warm wine, purchase Christmas presents, and enjoy various traditional dishes and sweets made locally at Stroumpi. Every August, the largest festival in Cyprus, second only to the Limassol Wine Festival, takes place in Stroumpi village and is called Dionysia, after Dionysus, the god of wine. It's a festival which attracts thousands of people from the surrounding villages and many visitors as well. The Dionysia are considered the most important happening in the area, and they revive the ancient custom of the Dionysian celebrations. They last for 3 days and include an entertainment program, food and drinks, dancing, lots of grapes and wine. Apart from the entertainment program, there's also an exhibition of agricultural products, traditional tools and art crafts, as well as a beauty contest. The vineyards and the olive groves stretching along the valley and the surrounding hills of Stroumpi are included in the 4 cultural routes, and during the autumn months they come alive with the joyous voices of the workers during grape harvesting and olive picking season. If it so happens that you find yourself in Stroumpi during the olive picking season, ask the olive growers to let you help with the collection of the olives, and they'll reward you with a unique and tasteful treat, which is customary to be served at the oil press of the adjacent village during oil bottling. A toasted hot Stroumpi bread dipped in virgin olive oil. The rich grape production in the area supplies grapes to the various wineries, such as the local winery known as Gamantarena, widely known for the production of tasty table wines. Almost every family in Stroumpi that produces grapes keeps some of the grapes for home in order to make various wine products using recipes passed on from generation to generation. Some of these are the palouzes, the kyofterka, the shouchoukos, and last but not least, zivania, which requires a distilling process that must be carried out by a professional and which needs a lot of patience. It does, however, always reward you, since it's considered to be one of the most miraculous spirits ever, curing illnesses, increasing appetites, and elevating the spirit. Next to the Gamantarena winery, there's a historical monument included in the tulip route together with the winery. This is the Prison Detention Centre, one of the 8 detention centres set up in Cyprus by the British during the 1955-59 Greek Cypriot liberation struggle against colonialism. If you find yourself at Stroumpi during the Holy Week before Easter, don't miss the opportunity to attend Mass at the Church of St. Sophia, which is at the village square and adjacent to the community centre, which houses the information centre for the 4 cultural routes. Ask the villagers to let you help with the making of the special pastries, the pasques, and the Easter cheese pastries of the flaounes, and also with cooking in the traditional earth ovens everyone keeps in their backyard. Cooking the basques, the flaones and the food for Easter dinner in the traditional earth ovens is a very old custom in Stroumpi, which is still very much alive.
Τότε υπήρχε μια συνεργασία με τους γείτονες ή τους συγγενείς, αναβάλε ένα φούρνο και βάζαν όλοι το ψητόν τους και το ταβάν. Ο ταβάς ήταν σηκωταριά με κρεμμυδάκια φρέσκα. Τα βάζαν από το βράδυ, το Σάββατο το βράδυ, θα τα ανοίξουμε το μεσημέρι μετά τη λειτουργία του μεσημεριού της Κυριακής. Όταν ήταν μια πολύ πανηγυρική, άνοιγε ο φούρνος, τρέχαμε όλοι εκεί να απολαύσουμε την διαδικασία και μετά η κάθε οικογένεια έτρωγε στο σπίτι της τα πατροπαράδοτα.
Finally, enjoy your coffee and take a rest at the coffee shops at the village square or the cafe restaurant at the very north end of the village of Stroumpi, which is included in the routes Dionysus and Bacchus. The 24 points included in the 4 cultural routes, Dionysus, Tulip, Bacchus and Saint Marina, are both a challenge and an invitation to the visitor who comes to Stroumpi to visit them. The community of Stroumpi would like to wish you happy routes.